part of the Bryson Pride and being a Bryson is coming in and show out on his work. Today we will be talking about note taking along with highlighted and annotating. These are some strategies that you can use in any course that requires reading, writing. It's definitely tools that you can use when writing your papers. So before we start, I have an exercise. I'm going to, after I present the information, and I'll go over the instructions for the note taking. So I'm going to get a sense of what your current note taking skills are like in this exercise. What we're going to do is I'm going to read off the first two sections, introduction and thesis statement. Based on my lecture, you're going to take notes on what you hear from me as your instructor. This is the before. Everyone should have something to write with. Start with the basics. Make sure you have a pen or a pencil. First part of this process is always paying attention, listening. You have to be in the moment. That's the first step. And you can't be distracted. You can't be in the cell phones or the digital or electronic devices on your desk when your instructor's giving notes, especially in a lecture format, because most times instructors will not repeat themselves. However, tip number one, if there's any moment that is unclear, wait until the instructor stops speaking, raise your hand, say, could you repeat that please? It's okay to ask the teacher to repeat themselves. That's step number one. Remember everything. So, you're only completing the first sections, the introduction and the thesis statement. As I read these items, it's your job to take notes the way that you take notes now. The length of an introduction paragraph should be 5 to 7 sentences. The introduction paragraph should include a thesis statement. A thesis statement is the sentence, 1 to 2 sentences that explains the main points of your essay. If your thesis statement does not clearly list your main points of your essay, you do not have a thesis statement. An introduction paragraph should include a hook. A hook could be a quote, an anecdote, a personal story. It could also be a fact or a statistic. Hooks are an interesting way to capture and keep your reader's attention. You shouldn't ask questions as part of your hook, although many instructors will allow you to ask questions. Questions take away from your credibility as a writer. You shouldn't include questions. They stop your flow. If your reader has to answer all of your questions, they're going to throw your paper away. Why should they continue reading? Especially if you're asking them 50 million questions and you're supposed to be the authority figure. So, an effective writer is an authority on whatever he or she writes. Do not include brainstorming in your introduction. Should not include any brainstorming information. You want to also include background information in your introduction. So moving on to your thesis statement. The thesis statement should be clear. Again, it could be 1 or 2 sentences that states your main points. You should be prepared to write about those 3 points in the order that you present them in your paper. If you present them in a different way in your paper, you must rearrange your thesis statement. Your thesis statement always answer a question. If they do not answer a question or do not talk about your main points in your essay, you have failed your assignment. A good hint for writing a thesis statement is to use keywords from your title, whatever your essay title is. Think about how you can use those key terms in a thesis statement. For example, I'm talking about the role of technology in a sample paper. I could say, the role that technology plays in my life is for communication entertainment, and travel, for example. At this time, you can start taking notes. So let's talk about it. What are some things that you all captured from the introduction?
Length of the introduction should be about 5 sentences.
Is that exactly how you wrote it?
Yes, sir.
Was something else someone captured?
It should include the thesis statement.
Any other notes?
Should include a hook.
Any others?
No brainstorming.
No brainstorming. Did you write it just like that?
No brainstorming.
No questions, they stop the flow.
No questions.
The writer should have authority too.
And include background information
Awesome.
also.
Moving on to thesis statement.
Should be 1 or 2 sentences.
Main point. Structured in the order of the introduction.
Anything else? Thesis statement.
Answer the question.
Anything else?
Should be clear.
Should be clear.
Should be clear.
Stating your 3 main points.
And it actually fills up that question, that circle that I had. I want to be clear. So looking at your notes from your originals, you all have captured the main ideas of what it entails when you're listening to a lecture. Now, if there was something that was unclear in your current experience with lectures, how do you get clarity? What else do you do with your notes after you're done taking them? Or as you're taking them? What do you do? So,
Can you shorten your notes? Like shorten?
you can shorten them. How would you shorten them?
Like, instead of like what I use, like what you used up there, you know, length of introduction should be 5 sentences. You said length 5 sentences, and you shorten it right there.
Yes, yes, definitely. Putting it into your own words will make your notes noteworthy. It'll help you remember it. It's the way that you remember it. And as we explore highlight annotation, you will start seeing how those connections relate to taking good notes. What are some current strategies that y'all use for taking notes right now? Y'all just listen to the teacher and write down everything? Do you try to write as
I
the
try to get
teacher's
out the
talking?
main points of what she's saying. The main points.
Okay, so when your teacher says take notes, you're taking notes, right? There aren't any distractions. That's distracting you from taking notes, right?
I wouldn't go that far.
That's a loaded question.
Which is,
But I try to get to know them.
which is something to think about. You know, distractions, get rid of any distractions, yes.
So the challenge I've always had with lectures, if you have a lecturer who's really long-winded, it's hard to know what out of that needs to be captured, and as you're writing, tend to miss what you're talking about. So like, that's what I struggle with, is going back to what I'm hearing, capturing what needs to be captured without distracting.
Awesome, that's a great point. Sometimes if your instructor is long-winded, that's a great point. If your instructor is long-winded, capture what you can capture. And after your instructor is done, part that was unclear for you, ask your instructor to clarify. Could you clarify what you said when you said? Because if you note that it's that moment where you may not have captured everything your instructor has captured, you can immediately make them remember that point. So then, if they need to, they can say it again. But this time, they emphasized what they were trying to say. That's gonna stay down for now. Thank you. So how many felt that assignment right there was a refresher? Something that came to you naturally? Hands high for me. Okay. So let's go around the room and talk about some more challenges of note taking. Sometimes I've seen where students are taking notes and then the reverse happens where all these gorgeous notes you've taken are not anything related to the test. So to deal with that, it's okay to ask, will this material be on the test? Even though you're taking notes, it's going to connect to something else. So always take notes. Our assignments are usually based on another assignment. So everything that you're working on, it builds up to something else. So even though you may not use that information for an exam, for example, it will probably still be used in some context. So as long as you're taking notes, and you're taking notes the way that I heard y'all taking notes, that's a win-win. Other challenges.
I sometimes write too many and I miss some because I'm trying to block out what I'm trying to focus on with writing down, but I miss the instructor when they continue to go on.
Okay.
So I don't get it all. And
Okay. So you're kind of stuck in a thought while they're still going on?
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay. It's a good point.
I'm not
It's a good point.
I'm the same way.
Are you?
That's what I meant, like, if you have someone who gives you a lot of dialogue, like, and you're trying to.
And you're trying to remember what you
lose
need
track
to
where they're at,
capture.
because you're writing,
You're
all
wrong.
that stuff.
So one thing about technology, and if you have a teacher who uses technology and they use PowerPoint presentations, those are usually good too. You still want to do the same thing when you're reading those. Put it in your own words so that you can remember. So if the teacher embraces technology, that would be a good thing to do. If they do not embrace technology, you feel like you're lost, again, make mental notes of where you were. And if you need to, ask the instructor. Most times instructors love to repeat themselves. They love the students who are really interested in the work. So it's okay to ask questions. In fact, we always recommend those. Did that answer your question?
It did.
Awesome. Did that answer for you? Okay. Any other challenges?
I have a problem paraphrasing.
Paraphrasing.
Because I'll be writing something down, and I missed probably two things she's probably talked about. Just trying to write one thing down, if I could find a way to, shorten it, I could stay with it, I could stay up.
Awesome. So paraphrasing is just that, get the main point and then use it. You can even write a sentence if it helps you remember. A lot of times, think about what it said and how can you make that connection. And then write in your own words. A lot of what we learn is about making connections. How can you connect what you're learning and applying it to what you're learning? So if you can make those connections and put in your own words something that you can remember, because you want to make sure that when you go back to it, you'll say, oh yeah, this is why I wrote that. Any other challenges?